Our top focus remains on the volatile situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rwanda-backed M23 rebels have now vowed to march toward the capital Kinshasa after making advances in the mineral-rich east. The M23 alliance says they will stay in the captured city of Goma, the largest city in the DRC's east, and will continue advances to Kinshasa.
We are here in Goma to stay as Congolese and to protect the population against threats. We will continue the march of liberation all the way to Kinshasa.
So far, Rwanda-backed rebels have claimed significant territory in the country's mineral-rich east. They have taken control of Goma, capital of North Kivu province, and are just 80 kilometers away from Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu province. The capital, Kinshasa, lies in central part of the country. In South Kivu's capital, Bukavu, hundreds of people, including former Congolese soldiers and youth, are mobilizing a potential counter-offensive against the advancing M23 rebels.
We don't have time to cry because they killed our loved ones, our mothers. We will take revenge. They shed our blood with weapons and machetes. If this is how they want war, then may God forgive us, but we will fight with the same means to defend our own.
The ongoing crisis in the DRC is reverberating across the world. U.S. President Donald Trump has now spoken and called it a very serious problem.
There has to be a question about Rwanda, and it is a very serious problem, I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it, but it is a very serious problem.
Meanwhile, more countries in the region have now been embroiled in the conflict. Tensions are also rising between Rwanda and South Africa, which already had troubled diplomatic ties. South African soldiers who are deployed in the DRC for a peacekeeping mission have been attacked by the M23 rebels. The country has lost 13 of its soldiers to the fighting. Pretoria says any further attack would be seen as a declaration of war by Rwanda. President Cyril Ramaphosa said his troops will remain in the DRC to maintain peace. The Rwandan President Paul Kagame has responded. He says he will deal with South Africa if any confrontation starts, and that Ramaphosa should not play a peacemaker.
He's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role, and he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please.
Rwanda has defended its support to the Tutsi-led M23 rebels, slamming the international criticism. It says its primary interest is to eradicate fighters linked to the country's 1994 Tutsi genocide, which it says are supported by the DRC. However, Rwanda has been accused of seeking to profit from the DRC's eastern region, rich in minerals that are used in global electronics. Global tech giants like Apple have also been dragged into the conflict. Apple is facing a probe in France and Belgium as it has been accused by the DRC of using the conflict minerals. It has alleged that large quantities of minerals controlled by the rebels are transported to neighboring Rwanda and end up in phones and computers. And Rwanda denies selling any minerals to Apple. Decades-long fighting has left mineral-rich DRC and one of the largest nations in Africa below the global poverty line average. Now, the Congolese army is also considered unprofessional and ill-equipped in front of the M23 rebels and the Rwandan forces. Is the fall of Kinshasa near? For more on this, we have with us Kambale Musavuli, who is an analyst with the Center for Research on the Congo-Kinshasa and is joining us live from Accra in Ghana. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Now, the M23 rebels have made significant territorial gains in the east and now threaten to march on Kinshasa. What are the key factors driving their resurgence, and how realistic is their goal of reaching the capital?
I would take that threat very seriously because the current uprising of M23 is not different from past uprisings, right? So if you think about what happened in Congo in 1996, we had the same soldiers from the M23 were part of the AFDL, backed by Rwanda and Uganda then, and they marched onto the capital city. And as they do so, I hope that it will allow people to understand that the claims of why they're fighting does not really make sense, because why are they going to the capital city, right? If they are fighting for protecting a minority group, they are fighting to hold those who committed the genocide in Rwanda accountable. Somehow they're finding their ways thousands of miles away from where they are.
Yeah. The crisis in the DRC has deep regional dimensions, with Rwanda often accused of supporting the M23 and Uganda playing a role as well. How do these external influences shape the conflict, and what diplomatic efforts are being made to prevent further escalation?
It's important to look at the facts, right? So when we're talking about the accusation and allegation, let's look at the facts. There is a body called the UN Group of Experts, which has a mandate of the UN Security Council. They publish 2 reports a year on the situation in the Congo. They have documented that the M23 is using night vision goggle, anti-drone missiles, GPS jamming systems, SHORAD system, Elbit systems, mortar. So I'm throwing a lot of names of different military equipment that they are using. And this is not something you just casually buy online or in some store somewhere, right? These are sophisticated weaponry. And the UN Group of Experts have tied the weaponry to the Rwanda military, the Rwanda Defense Force. And they've presented the evidence, photographic evidence, drone footage, and the movement of Rwandan soldiers in the Congo. So the evidence is present. The discussion around the situation in the Congo is void of that reality of looking at the facts, right? So we know Rwanda and Uganda are involved, according to the UN Group of Experts. But what we don't see right now is that when evidence is presented, and that even Security Council members say that the evidence is credible, there is a lack of action on holding the M23 or Rwanda responsible, right? So that should be the discussion we want to have about how do we move forward for peace and stability, because after 29 years, this conflict should not continue to exist.
Right. And given the vast mineral wealth of the eastern DRC, how much of this conflict, in your view, is fueled by economic interests? And what role do international companies and foreign powers play in sustaining the unrest?
The world today is at the brinks of coming out with the fourth industrial revolution. We're talking about AI, right? There is this AI revolution. We're talking about a boom in modern day technology, the green revolution, where we talk about electric cars, right? Congo, a country the size of Western Europe, is the #1 producer of cobalt. And you cannot build an electric car without Congo's cobalt. We are the #1 producer. We also have coltan, right? Coltan is a mineral used in cell phones and many electronic devices. And we have the largest coltan in the world in a town called Rubaya. The rebels have taken control of the largest coltan reserve in Rubaya. And we've seen how every month, according to the UN Group of Experts, they are generating $800,000 of taxation on mining these resources. So on one hand, you have these rebels moving forward, taking time with claims. But on the other, we see that they're actually finding their way to the mines, getting access to the mineral resources. So we know it's the driving force beyond the conflict, and Rwanda and Uganda benefiting in the process.
Right. Kambale, thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa and for your valued insights and analysis on that latest conflict in Goma.
Thank you so much.
We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we put together for you. touted as the minimum ways defense from that video. India's neighbors were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout the week. Yes, Hindu Mandir in we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
we were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote efforts. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion, 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.